come between bat and pad, and that's a worrying time for Madassa. Beautifully bowled. Michael Holding striking every 37 deliveries.
Well left by Madassa. Picked up the line of that one nicely and just watched it go past the outside edge. Madassa had a very good series in Australia this summer. Hits the tyre power strike rate from the bowling side of things. Scoring approximately 52 runs every 100 balls he faces. So played a very important part, giving Pakistan the opportunities in getting through to the finals. He's got to carry that on here today. Imperative that Pakistan get off to a good start.
Deflection, just beats the wicketkeeper and races around to the boundary. Leg buys, off the thigh pad.
Well, this is the sort of ground where you've got to have your fine leg pretty fine. Very short boundary, just clipped the outside thigh and gave fine leg no chance whatsoever. He's only about 10 yards away from that. That accelerated to the boundary, just deflecting from the glove and went a little wider. Joel Garner in himself. Seen 3 snicks already go through that spot. And big Joel Garner there. So Clive Lloyd just taking a little bit of, hoping for a bit of luck there. Sure enough, you see fieldsman shifted. And you can bet your bottom dollar that he'll sneak one right through the position where you'd moved him from. So it'll be interesting to see, Bill, if that occurs.
You just about do with another one the way they're playing, Keith. They're not looking for the short single. You could just about bring cover in and really go on the attack. Goes to Garner at gully. I just feel the attitude of the batsman is suggesting they're going to get an outside edge, and the extra slips probably should be in there, but because it's a limited over game and Lloyd's in control of the situation, he's just added for the third slip and the wide gully. And there it goes to him, and he's got him straight to Greenwich. And that worked out well for the West Indian skipper. Good cricket. The first wicket falls at 16.
Well, great captaincy, and we just showed you where he shifted him from. And Mansur obliging with a catch. Straight to Gordon Greenwich. It had to be taken. It flew off the edge. He just had to move to his right. And first blood to Michael Holding in the West Indies. So Mansur Akhtar, he's out. Caught Greenwich, bowled Holding for 4, and Pakistan 1 for 16. Always tell how far that ball is moving. Madassa seems to be getting a lot of inside edges at the moment.
Balls are wide.
A little frustrating for the West Indies bowlers. Got Pakistan pretty well tied down, and Sylvester Clarke trying a couple of things. He was trying to get Madassa into playing a hook shot then. Just a fraction short and going clearly over the head of Madassa, who's a rather short player.
In the air and it's safe. Struck that well, racing out to the square leg boundary. Richard giving chase, but doesn't make it, and that's encouragement from Madassa on the Pakistan side. The first boundary coming in the 10th over.
A very short boundary there, and the indications from that shot, Bill, is that Pakistan will certainly need a total of 200, 230 today, because that ball went to the boundary very quickly. Just a roll of the wrists, wasn't hit all that hard. So the first boundary off the bat this morning for Pakistan, that coming from Madassa.
And has apparently been of a tremendous assistance to Clive Lloyd in terms of the tactical side of the game.
What a good ball.
swing and movement off the seam.
I saw here having a little bit of a nightmare. Mind you, having said that, he's on occasions this season played almost exactly like this and got away with absolute murder outside off stump and then gone and made 80.
He'll have to run quickly here. And he's not running too freely. There's a definite limp there now. It may be nothing to do with a muscle tear, but it could be from the fact he's been hit so often above the pad.
Listen, being hit pretty regularly by these West Indian pacemen, there's no comfort to anyone at all. Might just have made it back there. It's pretty well protected with chest pads and thigh pads and what have you.
Safely away for 4. So Pakistan batsmen realise the urgency now, and they're pushing it along. 1 for 39. Change in the bowling here. It's 1 for 46 from 21 overs. Tony Kersey and Frank Tyson have come into the commentary box just before Tony picks it up. Just to remind you again, Brisbane viewers only, that tomorrow's telecast will be the normal first 2 hours of the match. And then QTQ9 will continue with normal programmes. The rest of Australia will be taking the full telecast. Here's Tony Kersey.
And here's Clark. And what a delivery. Slipped from his grasp and went behind him instead of in front of him. So Clark coming back for another spell, and there it goes.
Rather reminiscent of one of the West Indies managers who earned the nickname of ghastly backspin, because that certainly was what Sylvester Clark managed to put on.
And it will be Richards to continue to bowl to Zahir. And Zahir's gone after him. It's over the boundary, I think. Yes, just into the pickets, and it's gone for 6. Thick top edge. He didn't get hold of it as he wanted, but nevertheless he gets a 6.
What an extraordinary stroke. How often does one see a 6 struck over the top of extra cover? But that's precisely what happened with Zahir moving down the wicket, moving inside the line of the ball, hitting it not cleanly but with the thick top edge and clipping it right over extra cover.
He's gone again, someone under it, this time Lloyd. Difficult catch for him, and he just takes it. Juggling act by Lloyd. Zahir's gone, caught Lloyd, Bo Richards. 2 for 57. And Lloyd certainly made a bit of a meal about that catch, but in the end held on.
But what a cool, calculating customer Clive Lloyd is. Because as he goes for this catch, you can almost see the thought process is ticking over. I must follow it. I must really get that ball into my hands. And whilst he fumbles it, he still pushes it up and coolly plucks it in. The shoulder. But at no stage there did Clive Lloyd panic. He was thinking about it as Javed repeated the stroke that had previously brought him 6 the ball before. This time, Lloyd just picking that ball up very cleanly.
In fact, there was absolutely no panic there, as Frank said, even when it hit him on his nose. Ball dropped out, jumped up, hit him on the nose, and yet he still held it.
Off spinner, and entering into the one-day game to bowl medium paces with all the assurance in the world.
Well, this is a chance for a run out here. Richards knocks the stumps down with his boot and is annoyed. The return came to him at that bowler's end. He really should have been behind the stumps rather than in front.
This really was a terribly casual piece of cricket because the return was not all that bad. Richards there, almost negligent in failing to get behind the stumps and attempting what seems to be it's an arrogant cricket. They're just trying to flick the ball onto the stumps behind his back. He is very confident. Doubt West Indian captain Clive Lloyd would dearly like to have him out there in the covers. He's one of the most agile and quick fieldsmen I've seen in that area. But the nose have it at the moment.
That's a good shot. That's 4. Square cut, beautifully played, all the way to the boundary. And there's no need to run for that. So that's a fine shot by Javed. And Sylvester Clark, the two batsmen discussing tactics. Javed Miandad has done a magnificent job here for Pakistan. He's come out. The match was seemingly just drifting along with no real purpose in the Pakistan batting. The West Indies were well on top. Javed came out in the 23rd over, 57 for 2, and he certainly has made a tremendous difference to the approach and the attitude of his team. He's got 18 off 24 deliveries. He's encouraged Mudasa to run for almost everything. The West Indies fielding has become a little bit shabby. They've panicked a little bit, and now Pakistan have 2 for 97.
And faced with another problem they are at the moment with the reintroduction into the attack of Andy Roberts,
who is now hoiked over mid-on into the boundary. It goes for 4, and that brings up the 100 in the most emphatic fashion.
That rather fruitful stroke appreciated by this good crowd here, and Miandad raising his total to 22 by virtue of this ball whipped from outside the off stump. Roberts giving Miandad the room in which to make this stroke. Not much danger attached to that, really. The top edge would have brought 4 down through third man.
There's an appeal, and he's gone. A bit of football there by Andy Roberts. Scored for the West Indies, and eventually the short singles have proved the undoing of Mudasa.
Well, my word, Andy Roberts, on the evidence of this little piece of footwork, could play in the World Cup next year. A direct shot finds the top corner of the net from the stumps, and Mudasa is out. Brilliant run out, 3 for 101.
And now, as Richards continues, bowls to Imran, who's just come in. Imran has got 1, and he's now got 2. In fact, he's got more than that. Bad bit of fielding down there by Andy Roberts. Should just have been the single. Look at that glare from Richards. Has a few words to mutter to himself about his fellow Antiguan Andy Roberts, and well he might, because that was a bad bit of fielding. 4 runs to Imran, 3 for 109, and now for continuation of commentary, Tony Gregg with Keith Stackpole.
Thank you, Tony. Richards bowling to Imran.
For 111, Pakistan, 32 overs. Andy Roberts, Miandad on 25. Imran up, the non-striker, 6. To the end, he's gone. Well, that's a big blow to Pakistan. He's hit that straight to Clive Lloyd, who was fielding at point there. That's good bowling by Andy Roberts. He deserved that. He's really charged in, and a big blow there. The Pakistan captain, Javed Miandad, on his way back to the pavilion. Andy Roberts really bending the back and presenting Clive Lloyd with his second catch. Neither have been taken cleanly. Both ended up sticking. So Javed Miandad, unfortunately on his way back for Pakistan, out for 25, and it strikes Tony 4 for 111. The left-hander, Wasim Raja, into the crease. Full of that wicket, Javed Miandad caught Clive Lloyd looking for the drive in the covers. Wasn't quite up to him. And Clive Lloyd just juggling it again. Not quite as much as the previous catch that he took out in the deep, but it certainly came out for air. Andy Roberts getting his first wicket, and now bowling to the left-hander, Wasim Raja.
Well bowled by Roberts, and the youngsters, the big cheer there for all the youngsters being a
Sometime. Four for 111, and that Nelson business, Tony, probably have a few people confused at home.
Yes, well, that's the suspicious number. In England, 87 is the one out here, but in England it's 111. And just have a look at this delivery from Imran Khan, smashing it away on the offside there. Richards, the bowler. A single to Imran. As, in England, they refer to 111 as Nelson. One eye, one arm and one ambition. 4 wickets down, and 1 wicket has already fallen on that number, and now it's gone up to 112. So the Pakistanis can relax. Wasim Raja now on strike. He hasn't scored yet. He's still on a duck, and for those of you still confused about what a duck is, it's naught.
Only 16 overs remaining in this innings. Pakistan, so got to push on very quickly now. 112, they've got to push it up to around about 220 if they can.
Well played by Raja. Well, he's off the mark now. Single down to deep extra cover.
And both of these players out in the centre at the moment for Pakistan. Very aggressive players, both of them hit the ball well. Wasim Raja's played some good innings for Pakistan this year. Imran Khan's been in good form the last couple of weeks.
That's nicely placed on the leg side there, and Desmond Haynes coming in very quickly, limiting the batsman to just a single. And so 114 now on the board, 4 wickets down, and the Pakistanis did say they wanted to score around about 200.
Plenty of singles out there, but got to try and squeeze in a few boundaries somewhere along the line. There's plenty of room out in that outfield, particularly straight.
It's in the air, it's going down the ground, and it looks like a big one. It's a beauty. What a magnificent six that by Imran Khan. Elegantly placed and beautifully timed, straight down the ground for 6. 4 for 119.
Roberts to his final over 2. 9 overs. Him 1 for 24 now. You can see those figures at the bottom. Richards 10 overs, 1 for 52. Well, Pakistan had to try and take toll of his figures. When you look at those top ones up there, Michael Holding. How difficult the Pakistanis found it to get him away this morning. 5 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 3. So 2 bowlers to be bowled out after this, Holding and Garner.
It's in the air and going down to third man once again. Holding Fields, but on that occasion he was able to recover quick enough, and Imran Khan wasn't really looking for the two. He's having a bit of a problem down there, Michael Holding. And that's a little strange, as I've said before, because he really has got magnificent hands. And have a look at that throw. It's very fast too. And so Roberts again to Wasim Raja this time. Runs down the leg side and off the pad, and flicking the leg of Raja, a little hobble down the pitch there. That might have missed his pad.
Leg buys, but just flicking that back calf muscle. So Rodney Marsh get one of those on Thursday evening and was in a lot of agony, and Wasim Raja suffering the same fate again. Very nasty those when they just sneak past the outside edge of the pad.
And so the field spreading out a little bit now for Imran Khan. He likes the straight hit, and the West Indians are aware of that. The umpire just holding the game up a little bit there while Wasim Raja gets himself into order. He's got a bit of a problem with his leg there. Roberts again, this time to Imran. Down the leg side. Well taken by Dujon. He's had just a little bit of a nightmare too. Behind the stumps, he's fumbled a fair bit. And he too has a problem with his shoulder in terms of injury.
Yes, I think he still is troubled by that shoulder injury, Tony, which he suffered down in the Sydney Test match. Started off very poorly today, but starting to glove the ball a little better now.
I'll get 2 for this. It might be 4. Holding going very quickly, trying to stick the leg out, and the ball just beating him to the boundary. So that's a very useful 4, and Imran certainly coming into his own.
And what a nightmare time Michael Holding's having down that boundary. Imran Khan running it away wide and just connecting with the leg of Michael Holding and then deflecting into the fence. It's been a while since he's fielded a ball cleanly down there.
Oh, he's hit that very hard. That'll be 4. It was in the air and didn't go far away from Gordon Greenidge at extra cover. So another 4 to Imran Khan. And that was a good over for Pakistan. 4 for 1, 4-4. Little discussion there between Wasim Raja and Pakistan 12th man, and I think that that might have been something to do with whether or not he required a runner. Wasim Raja might have suggested to the 12th man that he get someone padded up to help him with his running. Clive Lloyd now having a talk with the umpire, and the umpire coming over. Yes, I think Wasim Raja is going to speak to Clive Lloyd. Friendly little pat on the shoulder there, and a little smile from Wasim Raja. It probably is likely that they're going to bring a runner out there, Keith.
So looking at it in the long term, Tony, it's a little unfortunate for Pakistan because Zahir, he suffered a injury out there today and he probably won't field. And now it's Mansour Akhtar, the opening batsman, who's coming out. Normally, the runner's got to have the same clothing on as the man on strike, but I see he hasn't got the helmet on, Tony, which I'm sure a fielding captain could ask for him to put on a helmet.
It's been known to happen before. Back to that in a moment. Holding back into the attack, and Raja looking in a lot of trouble out there. This is a nasty blow for Pakistan. Have a look at Raja after he's played the shot. Going down there on one leg and really in a fair bit of agony. Goodness, he really is in trouble. He's just getting back to that situation with the runner. The runner's out there, and I remember going out to run for Gordon Greenidge over in Perth during the World Series days. And I got out there, and Ian Chappell suggested I should have brought my crash helmet with me. He didn't suggest I should have painted myself black, though. Those were tough days. In fact, my crash helmet at the time was at the panel beaters, because I'd got one on the head from Dennis Lilly, and it knocked a big dent into the big old-fashioned crash helmet. So I had to inform Ian Chappell that I'm afraid it wasn't there. So holding now again to a rather troubled Wasim Raja.
The problem for Pakistan, in particular Wasim Raja, going a little deeper than just the running between the wickets. His leg spin and top spinners have troubled West Indies batsmen on several occasions. In fact, winning a game for them off his own bowling practically in Adelaide. So that leg injury may restrict him, restrict Javed Miandad with the operating of his bowlers this afternoon.
And he's dropped him. Well, that was an orthodox edge, and straight to Dujon. We've said he's had a bit of bother out there, and on that occasion he dropped that pretty straightforward catch.
And it was a straightforward catch, just sparring at it, went to his left. Dujon didn't move, his gloves moved, but his feet remained stationary, and it was more or less a snatch at the end from Dujon, but not a successful one. Just forcing its way through the gloves and ended up in a single for Pakistan. Michael Holding a little disappointed at that.
So Wasim Raja, having scored that single, albeit a lucky one, is now fielding, or now standing at square leg. Now he's got to remain behind that crease, and he won't do any running. The running will be done by the batsman out there, who's out there in as a runner, Mansour. And well, what a good ball, and what a great shot, albeit slightly accidentally played there by Imran Khan off the face of the bat. The ball deflected way down to third man for 4.
A very safe shot, and an intended one. Just opening the face and running it fine. And nearly 6. Just one bounce and over the fence. So Imran Khan accelerating his scoring rate very nicely now. Just a couple of boundaries off Andy Roberts and just going with the shot. Leaning back, one bounce and over the fence. Very short boundaries up here at the Gabba. Imran Khan, he's moved on to that bounce, giving Imran no chance to get onto the front foot. Very intelligent bowler, Joel Garner. He's coming up from that height, makes it even more so.
Oh, he's hit that, he's gone. Yes, Imran walking a half-hearted shout there, and that time Dujon making the catch. That was a very, very faint outside edge. Imran Khan didn't even wait for the umpire's decision, so that's a bit of a blow to Pakistan.
Well bowled by Joel Garner, just concentrating short of a length. Went straight through to Dujon. He hasn't kept cleanly today, but he made no mistake with that one. And Imran Khan finds himself on the way back to the pavilion. Five for 150, and the new batsman, Ashraf Ali, number 2 wicket-keeper in Pakistan lineup in this game. Wasim Bari out with the injury. So the end of a great over from Joel Garner. Got the wicket of Imran Khan, 5 for 150. And let's have another look at that dismissal. Caught behind by Dujon. Dujon, nice simple catch, but suffering perhaps a little injury to his hand there. The West Indies already have one wicket-keeper on the sideline, that in the form of David Murray, who's got an injured finger. Dujon not throwing that up with a great deal of zest. Perhaps not taking it cleanly and bending that finger back.
So I think Dujon's clearly in a fair bit of agony out there. His shoulder has caused him a few problems.
Great shot. Great shot way down the ground there. Beautifully timed by Majid.
That's what's needed. He's got the experience and the ability. Really easy to hit Joel Garner straight. Picked it up nicely on the up and placed it to long on for 4. 160 for 5. Michael Holding. Majid Khan. Got up in the air. Dujon under this one. That's a tragedy for Pakistan, but well bowled, Michael Holding. That extra yard of pace. A wonderful summer with the ball. It's up the vital wicket of Majid.
And he was certainly beaten for pace because that bat was only 3 parts of the way through when the ball hit it. It was a question of the ball hitting the bat rather than the reverse. Majid has gone and it's 6 for 1.
Looking up into the sky while the lights are not on. He's probably saying it's too dark today, so he's having a rough week, Sarfraz. Scamper through for a week. Well, could be out, yes. Always on, Ashraf. Too slow. Well played, Joel Garner.
No football there, as Andy Roberts used to dismiss Madassa earlier, but a great long striding figure going down there to pick up the ball and hurl it into the stump's underarm. And in fact, to brush through with his hand. Good cricket, that. And it's 6 for 4.
To Sarfraz, and he gets it away to backward square for a single. He's joined by Kazim. Pakistan struggling. Sarfraz is laughing. I'm not quite sure what about. So I need runs.
That's the way Ashraf Ali was run out. Garner, the big hand, picking it up there. Beautifully played by Joel Garner. Read the situation perfectly. And Ashraf just bows the head. Adjusts the helmet, which won't be needed again.
That's not interesting. Once again, we see a first-class player turn blind. Bell.
Not. That's a good shot by Sarfraz. I'm not surprised Iqbal couldn't go for 2 with that last shot we showed you there. Turned his back to the ball and he's bat in the wrong hand. Sarfraz is away there for boundaries.
That's a good shot. He's holding. It's been very tight today and it's a fraction short. He placed it well. So surely they must throw the bat. 175 for 8.
Well caught. Nicely judged by Gordon Greenidge, limping a little, but made it in perfect safety.
Good catch. Iqbal got under that and Greenidge still limping slightly. Kept his eye on the ball and judged it with perfection. 175 for 8.
That's where Iqbal Kazim was out.
Good catch, made it look easy, Gordon Greenidge. Never took his eye off the ball. Baseball faction judged it well. Good pair of hands, Gordon Greenidge, whether in the slips or in the outfield.
The spin took it away from Joel Garner there.
And Joel Garner's keen. He's amongst the wickets. His striking rate's good, and that Iqbal with this catch was made to look simple, but it wasn't all that easy. Carried quite a distance to mid-wicket. Greenidge, a very good cricketer.
He hits, he must be out. Sikandar, a single. Desmond Haynes, the fielder.
And once again, Greenwich backing up well. There was a chance of overthrows, and Greenwich come across from mid-off and backed up the throw from Haynes. Missed by all that much.
It's in the air, and what a good catch that is.
Sylvester Clark diving at mid-on, and the big man took a great catch, made it look easy diving forward. It bounced him in the face, but he had a lot of courage. He dived and picked up the final wicket. So it's 9 for 177 with Wasm Raja retired hurt. Superb catch from a big fast bowler. That supports the bowlers. The catching's been excellent today from the West Indian side. So it's 9 for 177 in the 50th over. We'll be back with Richie Benaud in just a moment.